The 3rd century was a time of chaos. Rome staggered from one crisis to another, while Persia advanced relentlessly. In this storm, a leader rose from the desert. His name was Odaenathus, a man who would defend Rome, humble Persia, and lay the foundation for Palmyra's greatest chapter. Odaenathus was born into Palmyra's noble elite, probably around 220 CE. His family, the Odaenathids, were wealthy merchants and landowners with strong connections to Rome. Unlike many nobles, Odaenathus was not content to simply enjoy luxury. He was ambitious, charismatic, and skilled in both diplomacy and war. In a time when Rome was weak, he saw opportunity. In 260 CE, disaster struck Rome. Emperor Valerian was defeated and captured by the Persian king Shapur I. It was the first time in Roman history that an emperor had been taken alive by an enemy. With the eastern provinces exposed, the Persians swept through Syria, Cilicia, and Cappadocia. Roman authority collapsed. But in the chaos, Odaenathus rallied Palmyra's forces. What Rome had lost, he intended to win back. Odaenathus forged Palmyra's cavalry into a disciplined fighting force. His horsemen, armored in scale and chainmail, struck swiftly across the desert. In 262 CE, he led daring raids against the Persians, reclaiming lost cities and restoring Roman rule in Syria. His victories were so decisive that he earned Rome's gratitude and a new title, Corrector Totius Orientis, ruler of the entire East. Odaenathus did not rebel against Rome. Not yet. Instead, he presented himself as Rome's most loyal defender. He crushed Persian armies, pushed deep into Mesopotamia, and even threatened the Persian capital of Ctesiphon. To many, he was the savior of the Eastern Empire. But his power was growing, and with it, Palmyra's independence. At home, Odaenathus ruled Palmyra like a king in all but name. He styled himself King of Kings, echoing Persian titles. He appeared in royal robes, sat on a throne, and elevated his family's status. Rome tolerated this because they needed him. But everyone knew, Palmyra was no longer just a loyal ally. It was becoming a kingdom in its own right. In 267 CE, at the height of his power, Odaenathus was assassinated, along with his eldest son. The assassin may have been a jealous relative, or perhaps a plot from Rome or Persia. To this day, the truth remains a mystery. His sudden death left Palmyra vulnerable. But in his place, an unlikely figure would take command, a woman who would become one of the most legendary queens of antiquity. Odaenathus, the desert prince, defended Rome when Rome could not defend itself. He carved out a realm of power and prestige for Palmyra, and though his life was cut short, his legacy would live on through his widow, Zenobia, the Queen of the East. In the shifting sands of the Syrian desert, one woman rose above empires. A queen, a warrior, a legend. Her name was Zenobia, the woman who dared to challenge Rome itself, and almost won. Zenobia was born around 240 CE into Palmyra's noble family. Educated in Greek, Latin, and Egyptian, she was said to be as intelligent as she was beautiful. Ancient writers admired her dark eyes, her commanding voice, and her dignity. When her husband, King Odaenathus, was assassinated, Zenobia became regent for her young son, Odaenathus. But she was no passive widow. Zenobia ruled in her own right. Zenobia's ambition was boundless. With Rome distracted by crises, she seized the moment. Her generals marched south and took Egypt, Rome's breadbasket. To the north, her armies swept into Anatolia. By 270 CE, Palmyra controlled a vast empire stretching from the Nile to the Euphrates. Zenobia styled herself not just Queen of Palmyra, but Augusta, Empress of the East. Zenobia's court became a beacon of culture. She welcomed philosophers, poets, and scholars. She surrounded herself with brilliant minds, blending Roman traditions with Eastern elegance. Her image was carefully crafted, a new Cleopatra, but wiser, more disciplined, and unyielding. Zenobia's subjects saw her as a defender of the East. Rome, however, saw her as a rebel. In Rome, a new emperor rose, Aurelian, a man of iron will, determined to restore the empire's glory. When word reached him of Zenobia's conquests, he acted swiftly. In 272 CE, Aurelian marched east with his legions. Battle after battle, the Roman war machine advanced. At Antioch, Zenobia's forces fought bravely but were crushed. At Emesa, her cavalry thundered across the field, but Rome's discipline held strong. Finally, Aurelian besieged Palmyra itself. As food ran short, Zenobia made a desperate attempt to escape east to seek Persian aid. But she was captured at the Euphrates. Brought before Aurelian, the queen of the desert had fallen. Palmyra surrendered. Her dream of an Eastern empire was over. In Rome, Zenobia was paraded in chains through Aurelian's triumph. Yet even in defeat, she remained dignified, remembered not as a prisoner, but as a queen who defied an empire. Zenobia's story echoes across centuries of ambition, courage, and the eternal clash between East and West. In the next episode, we witness the final downfall of Palmyra, the desperate revolt, Rome's wrath, and the desert city's descent into ruin.